another edition of Coffee with Coach. I'm Meg Kelly, joined today by Associate Head Coach of the Women's Soccer Team, Kelly Lawrence. Kelly, how are you doing today?
Doing great. It's a beautiful day here in Boston.
That it is. And you arrived here in Boston, but your start is from England. Tell us how you got to this side of the world.
So kind of just starts off with just having a love and passion for football at a young age. My dad played semi-professionally, get started in the backyard, or the garden as I referred to it back then. Played for my local club team. And then one day lost 15-0 to the Arsenal Football Club, and in the car ride home was like, Dad, I want to play for that team. And then had a great career with Arsenal, really fun memories, playing for them. And we won a lot. So that was part of the deal, was a lot of winning, a lot of fun. And, and then got to, a point where I was starting to think about college and universities. And at the time, there really was only really one option in the world to do the university and get a degree and compete at the same place. Otherwise I would have had to do university and then club separate. So one day just came home and told my mom and dad that I wanted to venture over the pond and get my experience over in the US. And an English coach got in touch with us after I think my dad sent my resume off to every college in the United States. And we ended up, connecting with an English coach, Mick Lyon, who was the head coach of Indiana University at the time. And the rest is history. And I think my parents are still wondering when I'm going to come home. It was only supposed to be a 4-year deal. So.
Yeah, and you played at Indiana. You were a legend there, and you also played for the national team back in England. So you got that playing career down pretty good. But then after playing, you got into coaching. So what made you want to get into that?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to play for a couple of pro, semi-pro teams after college, and I think it was good timing more than it was anything else, because we won a national championship here in Boston as well, with the Boston-based team, and then out in California. And I was just at a place where I was really enjoying being in the U.S. I was enjoying the experience I got through college sports and the platform that women were given. Although I think it's elevated now in sports, in comparison to England, women were just not as well supported, and there wasn't as much of a platform. So I was just, embracing that and wanted to still be a part of it. And, I came to a point where, I didn't want to hop back and forth across, Europe and the US, every 6 months to play. And, I got a little bit of a bite from coaching camps, and, I had a great opportunity in New Jersey to start, literally working with the little ones, and then worked my way all the way up. And, it's kept me connected to the sport. I think that was the biggest part, is, getting to a point of retirement, but wanting to stay connected. And then, I had one day a parent came up to me and said to me, do you know the influence that you're having on my daughter? And I was like, oh no, what have I done wrong? And he was like, no, it's just, you're such a role model, it's just, you're such a positive influence. And that was the moment where I knew, like, this is what I want to do. But it was also the moment when I realized there's a lot of responsibility in being a coach, and specifically being a role model to young females. So just love it, and, want to be out in the field every single day.
Yeah, you're definitely a role model, and we're very lucky to have you at BU, which you've been here for a little over a year now and heading into year 2 under staff. So what's your experience been like in Boston and working with Coach Feldman and Coach Chris?
Yeah, so, I mean, Nancy, as I refer to her, Coach, she's just a legend. Every day the standard is high, the expectations are high. It's an environment where I'm not comfortable every day. I feel like I'm growing and able to learn from her, both on the leadership side of things, but also, into the X's and O's. And she really knows her stuff, and that's proven in the amount of championships that she's won over the years. And, being able to see a culture that has been built from day one. There's not many coaches out there that can say that they're the only coach of the program and know every single alum. And but seeing some of the really sticky things that she's put in place that, really work and allow our student athletes to be successful. So, loving my experience, and then to work with Tori, Coach Chris. She just, she complements me really well, and my ideals and philosophy of, really wanting to, you know, be an empathetic leader, lead through just understanding, each student athlete as a human being first. She's a young coach, but we often talk about how calm she is under pressure, and then she'll walk away from a session and she might tell me about some anxiousness. And I have, for someone who's only been college coaching for 3-4 years, um, there are times when, I'm a little bit, anxious and panicked, and then I never see it in her. So I'm trying to learn a little bit more of the composure side of things when I do get into those moments where I really want to get a coaching point right. But it's a great rapport between the three of us, and I can't miss out Dave as well, volunteer assistant. He's just been a great balance to our staff. He's so focused on the details, and I'm very similar in that way. And he's just always been so supportive, and I'm definitely someone who's looking for feedback, and I can always count on him, to go to him and get some really good feedbacks so that I can continue to grow. So I love our staff, to be honest. I've been so happy that, the environment that we have at BU, within the athletics department is what I thought it was when I first came, and that hasn't changed. And right up to Massimo, our strength coach, and Nick, who is our athletic trainer. I'm just surrounded by first class people, and it just makes my job easier every day.
Yeah, I know you guys have a really great group at BU, and beyond the soccer field, you're also heavily involved in a couple of different groups within the community. One of those being the newly formed Social Justice and Inclusion Committee, which was formed this summer. Can you talk a bit about what the work has been so far and what you guys hope to do in the future?
Yeah, so I think, our main priority is, support, what is already there with it as a university. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. We want to support any programming or, dialogue, conversations, initiatives that the university it has put forth in this, in this realm of social justice. I think that's something that's really special about BU. You can really see the athletics department and the university, merging and as one. As at previous institutions, you definitely felt, a little bit of the divide, but we really pride ourselves on really being family oriented. So, we've had, dialogues as a whole athletic department. We've set up spaces for student athletes to come together. We've had, we've used our coaching conference as an opportunity, 2-3 hours opportunity to talk about social justice, through workshops. We've linked pretty heavily with the diversity inclusion office. Our women's soccer team specifically has done a lot of work with Alana Anderson. So, we're trying to support the initiatives on campus, but also make sure that, within our environment of an athletic department, that we are creating an event that make sure everybody feels, safe, valued, and supported. So, having a student athlete of color group, for the student athletes was important to us. We had an athlete ally chapter, prior to the formation of Social Justice and Inclusion Committee. So, that's something I'm very excited about, and something I'm a part of too. I think, going forward, we've been about, amplifying, the need to vote, no matter where your political affiliation lies, that being your right, if you're a U.S. citizen. We wanted to make sure that we are doing our part. So we've tried to support that. And then going forward, trying to have our teams think about what they want to get behind. We do community service and things like that, but now can we get, even more specific about how we're engaging with the community? So, if it's something you want to be behind, health reform in a social justice capacity, then let's do the research. Let's figure out how we can help and be, make our mark in the community, which is something that we're very much about as Boston University, faculty, staff, and student athletes.
Yes, definitely. And you mentioned Athlete Ally, which you're a big advocate of and a supporter of. And you've shared your story personally on athleteally.org and outsports.com. Can you talk a bit about what it means to be an ally and how we can better support, people like you who are out in sports and in coaching?
Yeah, so I wasn't aware when I first got to BU that we had, an athlete ally chapter, and I think it was our awards banquet when Johnny got up and spoke, and I contacted him and I just said I was so impressed with him, and then he told me all about Terrier Athlete Ally, and was able to just reach out and just say, look, I'm an out coach. Visibility is really, really important to me. It's something that, a process that I've gone through. And I've seen, the power of being visible and how it can help student athletes. So, and then from then on, it just kind of morphed into the role of being kind of an advocate in terms of the coaching side of things. Visibility is so important because it's a way to affirm, that who you are is okay, more than okay, great. There are so many messages for a lot of people that they see every day that who they are as a person is awesome. And within the LGBTQIA community, that's not always the case. It's getting better, but the more that we can, have a platform, support, be a visible figure, the more you will be able to help anybody within the LGBTQIA community feel that who they are is special. Especially when it comes to athletics. It's sport. You cross those white lines. You should feel that the only thing that you have to focus on is being the best that you can be and competing and enjoying that moment. And so I've been really, really excited to work with this group. As at the start, there was a lot of allies, so people that weren't necessarily, LGBTQIA, and that's great. But we want to get to the point where we're doing a good enough job that now, we have student athletes that are LGBTQIA that feel comfortable in that space, feel supported. And it's one of my favorite things, honestly, about being a part of the athletics department, because it means we can make sure that the marginalized don't feel so on a regular basis. So it's been a great experience, and there's some really great. The other thing that's great about it is student athlete led. So I think that's one of the greatest things about it.
Yeah, they're certainly lucky to have you, and we're all very lucky that you're at BU and have impacted all our lives tremendously on and off the field. And thank you so much for your time today. I'm glad we were able to catch up, and hopefully we'll see you around in the spring on the field again.
Thank you so much.